Hey everyone, welcome back. We are talking about Ten of Swords, Chapter 10 in the pages of X-Men number 13. This is a deep dive into some more of the history that we're learning about with Apocalypse, his past, about Annihilation, and about Genesis. I won't have a huge deal of time today, so this may be a fast video. First and foremost, I freaking love this comic book. The writing was fantastic, the art was good, all around high on my list for this series as one of the best in the Ten of Swords series so far. Jonathan Hickman is writing, Mahmud Asrar is doing art, Sonny Go on colors, Clayton Cowles doing letters, and Tom Muller on design. I love the scene that we open up with. We're talking about Krakoa, of course. Some call it home, some call it paradise, others call it an open grave where the dead are resurrected and the dying have nothing to fear. And I love that. We're watching them all do their best. They're trying to bring Apocalypse back around. He's been poisoned by the enemy, stabbed, and they're working on trying to heal him. And the healer is doing his absolute damnedest without much effect. Magneto and Polaris have had to hold him down. And, they're doing their thing, barely able to keep him held down. Barely anything's making a difference. And so Hope Summers steps in as the Hope, and she begins to augment the healing powers of the healer and multiply his ability in order to heal Apocalypse. And we can tell it is burning him. It's hurting him like hell. And the next part of this, Apocalypse is talking about the past. And it's, while he's drifting away and through all of this pain, he's remembering the history of the land forgotten. As the land was split into two by the Twilight Sword, and the enemy poured out of the gate between the worlds, and the 100 valiantly held back the enemy with their champion, the White Sword. Apocalypse continues to speak about all of this and the glory of his wife, Genesis. He says, stronger than us all, strong enough to break them, to turn them back, to reduce the enemy to peace. And the enemies of Genesis and Apocalypse, they meet them face to face in this flashback that Apocalypse is sharing with everyone. And the enemies' numbers, they have dwindled over time. You split the world, hurt us. We have punished you for it. Now you ask to parley. Speak if you are going to speak. If not, then you can expect more of the same. There's no avoiding paying for what you have done. And this next part is a lot of fun. And it was really unexpected from my assumptions about who or what Annihilation was. All of us cheesy YouTubers, we had all these guesses about the identity of Annihilation. And, it looks like in the future, we could have been right possibly, but still wrong about the origin. And I'll get to explaining that in a second. But see, Annihilation, the greatest enemy of all of Morocco, ends up being a mask whose spirit possesses the wearer. And only the strong can survive against being possessed by this Annihilation mask. So my prediction remains the same. In fact, this is a flashback into the past. And, we only see some weak grunt wearing the mask here, but I still think that in the future, at the present time, during this tournament of the Ten of Swords, that Genesis, the wife of Apocalypse, will end up being possessed by the mask of Annihilation, and in the end, she will have to end up facing off against Apocalypse. Of course, it's just a prediction. I don't have any kind of secret connection to the secrets of the X office, but I kind of wish I did. The Annihilation mask, it tells them all that they want them to earn the generosity of Annihilation because it is nowhere in Annihilation's nature. Genesis is not hearing this and asks exactly what the offer is that the forces of Annihilation could possibly make to them all. And Apocalypse continues to narrate this. What words were whispered in her mind? I do not know. All I remember is how much more determined she became, how much stronger she seemed, until her sister, Iska, the unbeaten, turned. The idea of a simple end died that day. There would be no clean victory, and it broke all of us. Her, most of all. Genesis says, so it seems our only choice is sacrifice. We know what we have to do, so we simply must do it. We were born of this land, and the land will save us. We will seal the breach. Araka will hold as long as we stand, as long as we breathe. Apocalypse asks to go with them to fight, and Genesis tells him that he already knows why he can't go with them, that he isn't strong enough. She asks him to what time they buy to make this world into something that can stand against their enemy. She asks him to judge them so that you become what we need. See that only the fittest remain. I like this a lot. With those words, we see where Apocalypse's whole vision of the world came from. All of this time, his entire attitude of only the strong shall survive, it came from this moment, and it stayed with him all of this time. This is really cool. It adds a very, very important different element to Apocalypse and to his character. It changes things. It changes the past. It changes everything in so many different ways. We can make a lot of conclusions now about him that are different than what we may have always assumed in the past. We can assume that he is acting out of love, out of humble appreciation, out of remorse, and out of sadness, and losing the most important individual to him, feeling that depth of sadness, but feeling that in every one of his steps through the X-Men books. Think about how many layers of characterization this adds to his character into the Claremont era of the X-Men. Look, all I can say is bravo to Hickman here. He is truly my second favorite X-Men writer. He has earned that title in such a very short period of time, and I'm very happy to be following this series as it all comes out. And I love the white page here, as we're told of the power of annihilation and the golden helm of Amenth. Amenth is a black planet of black death, a hellscape of demons and things of a darker origin. World of wild space that would be completely uncontrollable to the living if not for the golden helm of annihilation that commands the unconquered horde of Amenth. The person who wears the helm rules that dark world, but the helm itself rules the wearer, possessed by some elder god, a primordial force, and the spirit of that world made manifest. The helm is seductive. The helmet is all-consuming, and only aware of great strength and power can hope to live through experience. It is a crown for the fit, and only the fit can rule in a Amenthi hell. So, very cool. I'm a big fan of Hickman. Look, even if people aren't following the Ten of Swords series, I really urge them to still pick up every Hickman-written book in Ten of Swords. It's changing the face of the X-Men in the coolest ways possible. I'll say this, and close out of this, but when retcons happen, the ones that appeal to me, the ones that matter, they're the ones that change a character in the deepest ways possible, and in turn, change the subsequent context of every appearance of the character before that. When it comes to characterization and emotion, it's Apocalypse. When it comes to other factors like powers and abilities and hidden motives and objectives, it is Moira McTaggart specifically. So far, we've gotten that from the Dawn of X. So the last little bit of this book, it's Apocalypse traveling to the Pyramid of the Four Horsemen and finding his sword. He's, of course, he's preparing himself for the battle that we're leading up to. And when Apocalypse arrives at the pyramid, he says that this one is a monument to the living, and that it infuriates him. And he destroys the tombs inside, knowing that, of course, his children are still alive. And the next thing worth mentioning is that, I had no idea what 680,000 grams was. And you can tell by my accent that I'm very American. And, I had to look up the conversion of this sword. And holy cow, this sword that Apocalypse is wielding for this battle is 1,500 pounds. Damn, that's heavy. And, I think my favorite part of this, is what it says that its attribute is. It says that this sword is imbued with external sadness. It seems very fitting for Apocalypse's current situation. It seems fitting for my own as well. My sadness is external, not my own. For that matter, my skin is not my own. So much of Hickman's work for this series, reads like dark poetry. And I say the same for the masterful prose written by Percy as well. In his books, Wolverine, X-Force, I am grateful for the chance to follow the two of these writers into one of the best told X-Men stories of the past 10 years. Really enjoying this, so hey, I hope you'll join me for all my videos to come. I only generally have time for a couple videos a week, but I am committed to following all of Ten of Swords, and I'm gonna check out all of Venom and Daredevil books after this for the event of King in Black for the next Marvel event. Maybe other books, I just don't know. All I know is that just like Hickman and Percy deserve my time, so does Cates and Zdarsky. And, I love analyzing these writers, picking apart what I love about their writing styles. I hope you will join me in all my videos to come. Support your local comic shop. You are the gateway into comics.